Good evening and welcome back to another episode of The Longing. Today we are once again going to be continuing to read the Iliad by Homer. So, let's get going. Troy's great defender stands alone unawed, arms his proud host and dares oppose a god. And lo, the god and wondrous man appear, the sea's stern ruler there, and Hector here. The roaring main at her great master's call rose in huge ranks and formed a watery wall. Around the ships, seas hanging o'er the shores, both armies join, earth thunders, ocean roars. Not half so loud the bellowing deeps resound, when stormy winds disclose the dark profound. Less loud the winds that form the Collean hall roar through the woods and make whole forests fall. I'm struggling with words today. Less loud the woods when flames in torrents pour, catch the dry mountain and its shades devour. With such a rage the meeting hosts are driven, and such a clamour shakes the sounding heaven. The first bold javelin, urged by Hector's force, direct at Ajax's bosom winged its course. But there no pass the crossing belts afford. One braced his shield, and one sustained his sword. Then back the disappointed Trojan drew, and cursed the lance that unavailing flew. But 'scaped not Ajax his tempestuous hand, a ponderous stone upheaving from the sand, where heaps laid loose beneath the warrior's feet, or served to ballast or to prop the fleet. Tossed round and round the missive marble flings, on the raised shield the fallen ruin rings. Full on his breast and throat with force descends, nor deadened where there its giddy fury spends, but whirling on with many a fiery round, smokes in the dust and ploughs into the ground. As when the bolt, red hissing from above, darts on the consecrated plant of Jove, the mountain oak in flaming ruin lies, black from the blow, and smokes of sulphur rise. Stiff with amaze the pale beholders stand, and own the terrors of the almighty hand. So lies great Hector prostrate on the shore, his slackened hand deserts the lance it bore. His following shield the fallen chief o'erspread, beneath his helmet dropped his fainting head. His load of armour sinking to the ground, clanks on the field, a dead and hollow sound. Loud shouts of triumph fill the crowded plain, Greece sees in hope Troy's great defender slain. All spring to seize him, storms of arrows fly, and thicker javelins intercept the sky. In vain an iron tempest hisses round, he lies protected and without a wound. 238. Polydamas, Agenor the divine, the pious warrior of Anchises' line, and each bold leader of the Lycian band, with covering shields a friendly circle stand. His mournful followers with assistant care, the groaning hero to his chariot bear. His foaming coursers swifter than the wind, speed to the town and leave the war behind. When now they touched the mead's enamelled side, where gentle Xanthus rolls his easy tide, with watery drops the chief they sprinkle round, placed on the margin of the flowery ground. Raised on his knees he now ejects the gore, now faints anew, low sinking on the shore. By fits he breathes, half views the fleeting skies, and seals again by fits his swimming eyes. As soon as the Greeks the chief's retreat beheld, with double fury each invades the field. Oilean Ajax first his javelin sped, pierced by whose point the son of Enops bled. Satnius the brave, whom beauteous Neus bore, amidst her flocks on Satnio's silver shore. Struck through the belly's rim the warrior lies, supine and shades eternal veil his eyes. An arduous battle rose around the dead, by turns the Greeks, by turns the Trojans bled. Fired with revenge Polydamas drew near, and at Prothoenor shook the trembling spear. The driving javelin through his shoulder thrust, he sinks to earth, and grasps the bloody dust. Lo, thus, the victor cries, we rule the field, and thus their arms the race of Panthus wield. From this unerring hand there flies no dart, but bathes its point within a Grecian heart. Propped on that spear to which thou owest thy fall, go, guide thy darksome steps to Pluto's dreary hall. He said, and sorrow touched each Argive breast. The soul of Ajax burned above the rest. As by his side the groaning warrior fell, at the fierce foe he launched his piercing steel. The foe reclining shunned the flying death, but fate, Archilochus, demands thy breath. Thy lofty birth no succour could impart, the wings of death o'ertook thee on the dart. Swift to perform heaven's fatal will, it fled full on the... Swift to perform heaven's fatal will, it fled full on the juncture of the neck and head, and took the joint and cut the nerves in twain. The dropping head first tumbled on the plain. So just the stroke that yet the bloody stood erect, then rolled along the sands in blood. Here, proud Polydamas, here turn thy eyes, the towering Ajax loud insulting cries. Say, is this chief extended on the plain a worthy vengeance for Prothoenor slain? Mark well his port, his vigour, and his face, nor speak him vulgar, nor of vulgar race. Some lines, methinks, may make his lineage known, Antenor's brother, or perhaps his son. He spake and smiled severe, for well he knew the bleeding youth Troy saddened at the view. But furious Acamas avenged his cause, as Promachus his slaughtered brother draws. He pierced his heart, such fate attends you all, proud Argives, destined by our arms to fall. Not Troy alone, but haughty Greece shall share the toils, the sorrows, and the wounds of war. Behold your Promachus, deprived of breath, a victim owed to my brave brother's death. Not unappeased he enters Pluto's gate, who leaves a brother to revenge his fate. Heart-piercing anguish struck the Grecian host, but touched the breast of bold Peneleus the most. At the proud boaster he directs his course, the boaster flies and shuns superior force. But young Ilionus received the spear, Ilioneus his father, his only care. Phorbas the rich, of all the Trojan train, whom Hermes loved and taught the arts of gain. Full in his eye the weapon chanced to fall, and from the fibres scooped the rooted ball. Drove through the neck and hurled him to the plain. He lifts his miserable arms in vain. Swift his broad falchion fierce Peneleus spread, and from the spouting shoulders struck his head. To earth at once the head and helmet fly, the lance yet sticking through the bleeding eye. The victor seized, and as aloft he shook the glory visage, thus insulting spoke. Trojans, your great Ilioneus behold. Haste to his father, let the tale be told. Let his high roofs resound with frantic woe, such as the house of Promachus must know. Let doleful tidings greet his mother's ear, such as to Promachus's sad spouse we bear. When we victorious shall to Greece return, and the pale matron in our triumphs mourn. And with that, we come to the end of the episode. So I will say thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon or night. No matter what time of day it is, I hope you all have a wonderful one of it. And as always, we will be back tomorrow for more of The Longing. Goodbye.